Now, I spend a fair amount of time talking about investing, but honestly, I do think it's saving money that just doesn't really get enough credit. After all, for the majority of people, it's actually the money that you save that can be used for any of those investments that you make. Now, besides the habit of frugality, which is one of those things I credit my dad for drilling into me, this one other thing I give the most credit to in helping me manage about a 60% savings rate over the long term. And that's managing lifestyle creep. That's why in today's video, I'll be digging deeper into why it's so challenging to manage lifestyle creep. But more importantly, what are the 5 different strategies which I use to manage it in a very practical way. Hey guys, it's Sunmin and welcome back to Your Money Game, the show where we'll save, invest, and feel better about money. Now, lifestyle creep sounds really simple on the surface. It's really about telling yourself that, when I get my raise, I'm gonna start saving some more. But then one day you wake up when you finally got that raise and you realize that, I'm not really saving that much. And then suddenly the story keeps repeating itself. Now, I personally believe that we have to take ownership that yes, we are responsible for it all, but at the same time, there are 3 underlying reasons that make it much harder. The first one is really about peer pressure, and not like hardcore peer pressure, but really just the norms that you and your friends have. Now, I remember back in the day when I just graduated and me and my friends were previously used to going to Mamak's, and then suddenly we're all exposed to Coffee Bean, going there more regularly, better shops, better restaurants, better places to hang out. Everything just got a little bit better. And then next thing you know, we're just used to spending more money. The second thing that makes it hard is us wanting to give more towards our loved ones. Now, the obvious one is relationships, because the math there works differently. It's usually 1 + 1 is 3, and somehow or other your budget seems to flow that way as well. But it's also us wanting to contribute to the family, not only our family, but maybe your loved ones' families as well. And then on top of that, buying gifts, buying treats, and all those things really just add up. Now, I saved the worst for last, which is society's expectations for us all to live this kind of upgrade lifestyle. I remember when I had a major promotion last time, which happened to coincide with me needing to get a car. And somehow or other, the expectation was there that, okay, why don't you just get a high-end Japanese car? Or maybe even an entry-level German car. And that's just something that was done, which was normal. And at the end of the day, thank God I settled for a Proton. But at the same time, I spent more money on that car than I really cared to spend, because I really don't care about cars. And I didn't factor in all the additional costs that came along with it. And it's like that in so many different other areas. People just expect you to live at a certain level once you achieve a certain status in life. And unlike robots where you can just flip a switch and you can just turn it all off, we people simply need to look for practical strategies and practical tips to help overcome them. Speaking of practical things, I really do hope that you take the extra additional effort to click on that like button and maybe leave me a comment down below. I answer every single comment anyway. And the reason why is that all these things, they do help my channel grow. So thanks. Now let's start with the first and the easiest strategy in my opinion, which is to be a conscious upgrader. But what I mean specifically about conscious upgrading is that we gotta be aware that any new interest that we adopt in our lives, it actually comes with a whole system behind it. So I'll give you a personal example. So for me, I really want to get the PS5. It's been out of stock for ages, but when it finally comes, I will get it. But at the same time, when I get it, I'm also interested in getting a new TV because I currently don't have a 4K TV and I need it to just match what the PS5 can do. And on top of that, the games for the PS5 are also going to be more expensive. Now imagine if you were in my shoes, but you were also an audiophile. So when you got that new set, suddenly you realize that, I would like better sound as well. So you gotta spend more on getting an upgraded sound system. And then maybe after that you're saying that, I got all this stuff and I would like it to look better. So I want to buy a new cabinet as well to make everything look good. So the list can really go on and on. Anytime you adopt a new hobby or interest, you gotta be really accepting that there will always be a system around it. You just gotta be ready. And on top of that, your wallet has to be ready as well. And I'll share with you a great tip which I picked up from this guy named Derek Sivers, where he has a way of filtering things that he accepts into his life. And for him, he says in his head, It's either hell yeah or no. And that's the way he chooses to filter what to say yes to and what to just cut or reduce in his life.
No.
And thanks to that, I got very good at saying no to anything that was trying to get more of my either time, attention, or money in life. Now, the next strategy involves some bit of compromise, and it's called smarter downgrading. Now, this will require you to look at the interests and lifestyle that you have and then make some really conscious decisions on where you want to make cuts. Now, from a personal example, I don't really care so much about fashion. So that's an area of my expenses where I'm very comfortable just dropping to a very low level so that I can spend on something that I have more interest in, like the PS5. Another practical tip is to try and experiment with more house brands or basic brands to buy stuff which are necessities, but at the same time, you don't really care for the highest quality. I do this a lot with food, so I'm very comfortable buying house brand dried beans or maybe even tuna. The next strategy is to forecast your spending. Now, you might have heard of impulse spending, which is a problem that quite a lot of us face. Forecasting your spends helps you manage that a little bit, but more importantly, it also helps you set aside money for any of those needs of tomorrow. The less you forecast, the more likely that suddenly a big bill will come out of nowhere and suddenly takes away or sucks up all the hard-earned or hard-saved money that you already have. So here's what I do. I log all of my liabilities, from insurance, from cars to payments to other services, and make sure everything is accounted for, and then I budget it in today's budget, even though the bills are not here yet. Anything at all that you can reliably predict, you can kind of budget roughly and set that money aside. And if your forecasting is good, you can start to use better spending tools as well. So whether it's buying vouchers from Fave to take your family out, or it could be using Burple Beyond, shopping during the right sale season, all those things are possible if your forecast is good. The next strategy is to be open about your financial goals. Now, this is me realizing how much easier it got when I started being more honest and open about my financial beliefs and financial goals. So be clear and be proud about them so your friends and family know what's going on in your head, and hopefully they'll support you as well. In my experience, doing so helps you be open and honest, but at the same time also helps you reach a point of compromise, because it's not about drawing a hard line in the sand and telling people that I'm not gonna budge from here. But really, it's about saying, look, I prefer things to be a certain way, but at the same time, I'm willing to make compromises if it matters to you. The final strategy is to go deep and really reevaluate your reward system. So how many of you are working towards some kind of goal with this carrot in front of you? Whether it's a nicer car, a bigger house, better holiday, some kind of thing that you're really motivated by. So why do you really want it? Is it something that you genuinely feel strongly for, or has it been something that just is expected of you and maybe you've not even consciously thought about it before? Now, the point here isn't about judgment. It's simply getting clear as to why you want certain rewards, what the costs involved in it. Do you really resonate with what those rewards are, or are you just kind of going with the flow because that's what everybody else seems to be doing? On a related note, research supposedly shows that if we spend on experiences rather than things, we are generally better off and happier. Of course, these could be really expensive experiences as well, but it does not necessarily have to be. If you reflect successfully over a long term, you might find yourself a new set of rewards which you choose to use more frequently, but at the same time spend less on as well. Now, these are the 5 strategies that worked well for me, and I do hope that they made some sense to you as well. So they might sound like really small things, but I do believe that they all add up, and hopefully they are a practical way for you to make sure that you manage that lifestyle creep. So thanks for watching, guys. So if you haven't already, I would really appreciate your support in clicking that like, subscribe, as well as that bell button, because I'll be back again next Sunday with a brand new video. And until then, you take care and keep playing your own game.